Hi everybody, this is Dr. Karen's, and in this video I am going to show you how to navigate your your eCampus course. So if you are taking either A&P1 or A&P2 with me at Dallas College, your course is going to be organized just like this one. So it doesn't matter if you're not in this particular course, this video is still going to be helpful to you. So once you log into eCampus and you open up your course, you're going to find the following modules: Getting Started, Lecture and Lab Books, and then you'll find some unit modules here. Now, depending on the course, maybe there's 4 modules like you can see here, maybe there's only 3, but the dates for each module should correspond to what's in the course schedule. So I'm going to open up Getting Started. This is where everyone should start. As soon as you open that up, you see a list of things here. These are housekeeping duties that I need you to complete before you get started on your coursework. What else can you find under Getting Started? I'm going to come over here to the left. Syllabus and course schedule. Here's a link to the syllabus. You can also scroll up and look in the blue ribbon and find the link to the syllabus up there as well. The syllabus is where you're going to find course policies, the grading scale. You'll find the course schedule in there as well. If you want to print out a course schedule for yourself, I created a separate document for that. So I'm going to open that up and show you what that looks like. So you can see here, each topic for the week is posted in both lecture and in lab, and then assignments are listed on the right, which assignments are due and when. So I'm going to go back to Getting Started. What else do you find under here? Learning materials. The 3 main learning materials in this course are Mastering A&P. That's where you're going to access your lecture book, your chapter homework, and there actually will be some lab material that you can use to study with in this site. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. Here's the link to your lab book, and then Practice Anatomy Lab. This is a tool that you are going to be using to study for lab. You actually access it through Mastering A&P, and in a different video, I show you how to do that. But let's open up the Mastering A&P submodule. What you will see first is probably the link that is going to be the most useful. This is going to basically take you to the home page for our Mastering A&P course. This is really, again, the online companion site for our lecture book. The other links that I posted here are just direct links to either the lecture book itself or to your homework assignments, but both of these things can be accessed through this Mastering A&P link. So that's what I'm going to open. And once that loads, you will see a picture of our textbook, of our lecture book right here. And then there's a button in yellow, Open My Lab and Mastering. That's what you want to click on. Sorry. That's going to give you a variety of options in terms of activities and resources. So once you open this up, you see it says Course Home. And I'm an instructor, so I'm going to have a different view than you will have. But the things that you will definitely be able to see: assignments, that's you click on that to get to your homework assignments. The e-textbook, you would click on that to open your to open your lecture book. And I'm going to open that right now just so you see what that looks like. You want to click, once you do that, you want to click on Open Pearson Plus. And even within this, there's more than just the textbook or more than just the lecture book. There are other things. I think there are some AI studying tools and things like that that you can use, study prep, all kinds of stuff. But here over on the right, where it says Your e-textbook, that's what you want. I don't want to go to a particular page. I'm just going to open the e-textbook. This is the same book that you will use for either A&P1 or A&P2 with me. And I'm going to go to the table of contents just to show you again how to navigate. So all the Chapters are listed. You just go to the chapter that you want, and then here you can um, read the book, look at the images, so on and so forth. If you have the Pearson app, I think you should be able to somehow download the book to a device. And I recommend that you do that. And that way you don't have to, I don't think you have to log into eCampus every time you want to open the book. I'm coming back to, I'm going to go back to where we were in Course Home. So that was the e-textbook. And then study area is another tool you're going to want to use. There's lots of resources there to help you prepare and learn the material that you need to learn. So again, that was all under, I'm going back to our course here, under Getting Started, Learning Materials, Mastering A&P, and that was this first link right here. Down here, Lab Book. The lab book is a different book from the lecture book. You access it through a different site. It's through Top Hat. And here are instructions on how to do that. When you open it for the first time, you will have to create an account with Top Hat, and you will need a join code to join to access the materials. And that join code is listed here for you. But when you open up that Top Hat homepage, and you can bookmark this page. You should be able to access the lab book without going into eCampus once you first registered for Top Hat. But I would bookmark this page. Here's a course. Maybe it's your course, maybe it's not. You should see your course once you're registered, and then you will see all the labs listed here. And when you open up a lab, there's usually two things. There's a lab, and then there's a post lab. The lab is this is the lab book. If you were taking this course face-to-face, this is the book you would use. And then there's a post lab here. This is all for you. None of this is for a grade. This is your resource to learn the lab material. So you will refer to your lab exam study guides when you're preparing either for a lab quiz or a lab exam. I'll show you that in a second. And you come here to the lab book and you're going to learn how to identify all the things that are on that study guide. So again, you're not turning anything in from here. You are being graded by your lab quizzes and your lab exams. The last thing listed under learning materials in Getting Started is Practice Anatomy Lab. And again, there is a separate video that talks about this, so I'm not going to talk about it now. Another thing listed under Getting Started is this module here called How Do I? This is like an FAQ section. So if you've got questions on like, I'm trying to find this, or I don't know how to do this, come here first because that question may be answered here for you. And then Get Help. I think there's one link here for you, and that's course support. And that is really for your Mastering A&P stuff. So your Pearson lecture book. If you're having issues with Mastering A&P, you want to come here to course support. All right, so that was everything under Getting Started. But we also have another module here called Lecture and Lab Books. And this is really just to be a quick way for you to access the lab book and the lecture book. So without having to go back to Getting Started and go into learning materials, you can just quick access them right here. And then we have our unit modules. All the units are organized in the same way. So I'm just going to open the first one and give you some ideas of what you're going to be looking at here. So for each unit, there will be learning objectives. Take a look at those. It kind of gives you a sense of, okay, this is what you're going to learn in each chapter. And so you can keep those things in mind as you're reviewing things. Study resources, definitely come here. When you open that up, you're going to find a variety of things. There might be some standalone resources. So in Unit 1, there is a standalone resource here, Introduction to the Microscope. So don't forget to look at that. But then each of the unit study resource folders will have the same items here. PowerPoints. PowerPoints are listed here. treat these like notes. These are the slide decks I would use if I was giving lecture face to face. They're streamlined. So, reading a textbook can be kind of daunting and you're kind of overwhelmed with detail. Use the PowerPoints along with that to give you a better sense of, okay, these are the main ideas that I need to know. Lectures and other links. So for some topics, I have recorded lectures, much like this one that you're listening to right now. Um, and it's basically what I would do if we were face to face. So it'd be PowerPoint and then me talking along with the PowerPoint. If the title says my lecture, that is something that I recorded. But I've also found another instructor. She has a YouTube page, and I've posted all of the links to all of her topics that are she's just really great. She's very thorough. If you need extra explanation, if the book and the PowerPoints are just not cutting it, come here to lecture and other links. If maybe I have a lecture, and if not, come to these other links. It's just YouTube lectures from this other instructor. They're really great. Practice Anatomy Lab access and study guidance. This is available in every unit. I'm going to talk about that in the other Practice Anatomy Lab video. Study guides. Each unit in this course ends with a lecture exam and a lab exam. These are the study guides that you're going to need and you should be using all the time because this is what's going to tell you what you need to know. So if I open the lecture exam study guide, if you download this, it will look better. The format gets kind of messed up when it just opens within eCampus, but it gives you an idea of what you can find in the lecture exam study guide. It's organized by chapter and it's basically a list of questions. I would incorporate this study guide into your weekly studying routine and reviewing routine. And in addition to doing chapter homework, answer the study guide questions as we go through each week. And then the lab exam study guide. This is a list of terms organized by lab chapter. And so they're not questions because the lab exam and the lab quizzes are all fill in the blank. You will see a picture. There'll be something pointed. I'm pointing to something in the picture and I'm going to ask you to name it. And there's no word bank. Your word bank when you're studying is this study guide. So this is telling you, okay, you need to know all these planes. You need to know all these directional terms. And when you use the lab book and the lecture book, you can use the lecture book too to study for lab. You will find images where all of these things are labeled, and those are the images you want to use to study. Okay, what else is in study resources? So we said PowerPoints, lectures, Practice Anatomy Lab, study guides, coloring pages. So I bought an anatomy coloring book on Amazon and I scanned all the pages and I posted them here as PDFs. I probably violated lots of copyright rules. Don't tell anybody. They're here for you. It's a way to study. Some people are real visual learners and active learners, and it really helps for them to do something and color code things. The coloring pages are meant to be that resource for you. If you want the actual coloring book, let me know and I'll post a link for the coloring book, the one that I used, and you can just order your own and that's fine. But that's there for you. So that's what you can find under study resources in each unit. And then the rest of the unit really consists of weekly instructions and all of the assignments associated with that week. So let's look at week 1. The topics are listed here. That should coincide with the topics on the course schedule. And then here is kind of a list of instructions. Do you have to follow these instructions step by step? No. This is really just a guide for you on how to spend your time each week. Some of you have studying down to a science and you know exactly what you need to do to succeed, and that's great. But if you find yourself kind of at a loss, like, I don't know what to do, what am I supposed to do? come here to the weekly instructions and use this as a guide. I direct you to the chapters in the textbook and the lab book. There's links to the study guides directly within these instructions, and there are links to the assignments for that week in the instructions. Alternatively, you can scroll down and find links directly to those assignments. Here are some lab quiz. There's a lab quiz due this week, things like that. And that's really it. That's how, the rest of the units are going to be organized the same way. You'll find learning objectives, study resources, and then the weekly instructions. So how exactly you want to navigate this course is up to you. There's lots of ways to get to what you want to get to. In terms of assignments, you can come to the weekly instructions and assignment submodules and access them here, like I showed you, or you could just go up to activities. And from there, you can click on assignments. When you click on assignments, you will find mostly chapter homework here. And when you open those, there will be a link to Mastering A&P, and that's how you complete those homework assignments. If you click on discussions, you will find the discussion board activities in this class. If you click on quizzes, I'm not going to do that, but if you click on quizzes, you will find all the lab quizzes, all the lecture exams, and all the lab exams there too. So they'll all be there. They might not all be visible to you because they are, I kind of regulate when they're going to get when they'll be available, but you could access them. If they're available, you'll find them under quizzes. That's kind of I guess that's a quicker way to access these things versus going in through all the different weekly submodules, but you're welcome to do that as well. So if you have any questions again, you're still lost, just let me know.